project that we're going to work on next is building a crate.
So what we have here is a box, another box, 3-gallon pail of some fire suppression material. That's liquid, so ideally we're going to do a little bit better job at just making sure that doesn't move around. And we've got a CO2 cartridge for obviously activating the client system. So what we're going to end up doing is just creating donuts for all of this stuff. I'm going to cut around it. These donuts will then just slide down and over this. Okay, assembly's begun here.
If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video.
Okay, so the skid is done, and here's what it will look like. The lid is just on loose. Our 3 gallons should fit in there. Our 2 large rectangular boxes should fit in there pretty well, hopefully. Everything appears to be in really good shape. It's the world's most elaborate shipping container. Okay, let's put our lid on top and we'll drill our screws that will hold it closed. They're probably going to end up putting steel banding around this, so I'm not concerned with the fact that there's nothing other than glue holding everything here together. There are 3.5-inch screws down in the feet of all of this. And as I dissect this at the end, we'll talk about the purpose of building such an elaborate shipping crate, which of course was hopelessly financial loss, but that wasn't the point of this. All right, so let's drill some holes. Okay, let's countersink those holes. Just enough for the heads of the screws to be flush. Yeah, we're definitely gonna swap out the battery before we just taking the edges off a little bit. Not a big deal. We're doing now. Okay, let's give this a little bit of air. Okay, finishing touches.
If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video.
All right, so I'll go backwards. I think it'll be a little bit easier. If any time you got to put it down, let's put it down. Let's just go straight off this way, and then we'll just go backwards. If you got to put it down, just put it down. Just let me know beforehand. 1, 2, 6. Much easier.
Watch your chin on these nails.
If you got to put it down, let me know. It's got to be heavy now. A little bit more? Okay. I got it here. We can't slide it. It has to be lifted onto the cardboard.
Hold on. There you go. You're on the cardboard.
All right. Grab the 2 pieces of cardboard for the feet.
It's not sliding with the cardboard.
Ah, shit. Okay, down. It'll have to do. All right, we'll handle it when we get there. All right.
Ready?
No.
Right.
Oh, I'm not. Okay.
Straight down. Straight down. Yep. That's it. Perfect. Well done. Excellent. She'll take pictures of this before it leaves. You'll be able to go right in the side. What you want to do is lift it up a little bit. Crank it. Bring it in. This is actually the moment of truth here. Lid. Let's take it off and put it on top of their HVAC. This is the moment.
Just, like use scrap wood, right?
Kind of. Oof, oof. This kid is good. Lift it in there like hand and glove. Get the little cylinder, Anna. Drop it down here. Leave the string out so they can pull it out.
So you tie it to that.
Huh? Not bad, huh, Hank? So the post-mortem of building that crate is, in no particular order, the Onsrud 60-173MC. It's a compression bit, a marathon-coated compression bit by Onsrud. Compression meaning that it's down spiral at the top and up spiral at the bottom. And that was not working the way I was using it. So I was taking multiple passes because I initially did not have the workpiece held down to the table very well at all. I have my 2 vacuum pumps and I'm pulling over 20 bar through the MDF. And then I had a piece of 1/4-inch MDF on top of that. So I had a spoil board on top of a spoil board. Then the OSB was sitting on top of there. Extremely, really porous, all of it. The issue is, in order to have used that 60-170, I said 173, but I'm second guessing if it's a 172. No, it's a 173. The 60-173, Onsrud says, the longest running compression tool due to advancement in cutting geometry and addition of a unique Onsrud coating. Coating is formulated to protect cutting edge from high temperatures generated when routing laminated and composite wood. So, 2 things. Initially, I was just taking many passes, so the only part of the bit that was hitting the workpiece was the upcut part, sucking the piece up. I didn't have enough hold down to keep the piece down. That was very initial in the process. When I tool pathed and then made one piece just to make sure I had everything okay. But because I was failing in that step, I went with the downcut bit that I had in the tool changer, which was a 1/4-inch downcut bit. That solved the problem. The workpiece wasn't being pulled up. What I should have done, I realize now, is I should have used the 60-173MC. I should have run that through in one pass. 7/16 thick OSB, which was coming in really at like 0.48. It danced around a little bit, but it was never less than 0.47. So let's just say I'm going to cut at 0.5. And actually I had to get to 0.52 where I had a clean cut all the way through. And the vacuum was holding those pieces down, but I had to add tabs at the very end, as you may have recalled, to hold the pieces down because they were moving around. What I'll do next time is I will create my piece, I will test it, and if I have to change from a down spiral to the compression bit, I will. Retool path for the compression bit, and then I would have array copy tool path, and then I would use the 60-173MC, single pass everything. And that combination of up and down spiral bit should not give us any trouble. So when I array copied toolpath, I was able to cut the 3 sections out, and I'm clamping that down. I'm just clamping the entire sheet because it's moving. And what I've also learned is the amount of force that you're pushing on the workpiece is absolutely related to the bit diameter. So I'm really removing a lot of material using that 1/2-inch 60-173MC. But if I were to be doing this in a production setting, I would be cutting it in one pass. I wouldn't be worried about having that 1/4-inch MDF, the spoil board on top of the spoil board. I would just be going into the spoil board, and then my vacuum should have held everything down really well. And I also learned, as the tool cuts the first section and I'm pulling those pieces off, bad idea. I'm losing vacuum. So I left all those pieces there because when it got to the end, there was still movement on the parts. So I have realized that that 6173MC is available on eBay so cheaply because it's a really tough bit to use in the sense of, single pass. Something that you're okay with cutting that much material out. What I mean by that is, when I'm using my 1/4 inch down spiral, I would prefer if it was up spiral because I'm pulling the chips out with it into the dust collector. Down spiral, you're leaving a lot of it down there and you can see it, okay? That smaller diameter bit is literally creating less particle to go into the dust collector. And that's nice because I don't like wasting time. I don't like spending time changing bags. So I don't know about chip clearing on a compression bit. I would want to study that further. And that was really the part of this project of making the crate, which turned out really, it's a B+, I would say. If I was going to give myself a grade, it'd be a B+. I know what I'll do next to get an A, a solid A. I did make a couple of mistakes that didn't work out well. One mistake I made was the 3-gallon plastic container. It was not the same diameter at the bottom as it was 3 inches up, as it was a little bit higher. So I had to recut pieces, 10.5 inch, 10 3/4 diameter, 11.5 inch diameter, and then 13 inch diameter up at the top for the lid, which I knew about that. I assumed that that was a cylinder all the way down. It wasn't. So I had to recut some pieces, and the problem with recutting pieces is you're going to be pretty close with where 0, is based on how you've built your table, but you're not exactly on. And I wasn't going to go to the effort of making sure the positioning of the piece was perfect on the table. Oh, you know what? About the 6173MC, I thought to myself, when I made the lid, I think I used the 6173 on the lid, and I was making multiple passes. Because only the upcut part of the bit is making contact, I tore part of the veneer up. And that's why I went back in and put a bevel, a chamfer, but it's bigger than a chamfer, so I beveled the top lid. What I would do in that case next time is I would cut that 1/8 of an inch bigger all the way, or maybe a 1/4 inch bigger all the way around, and then a second tool path a little bit tighter, and do a profile cut at full depth with the compression bit, so I'm getting a cleaner top finish and a cleaner bottom finish on it based on the fact that it's a compression bit. I thought that I would skim the perimeter with that bit. That'd be a way to use that. And plus with the tool changer, it's there. The machine's just got to go down and pick up the tool. OSB is awful to work with. I had it all laying around, which is why I used it. What was awful about splinters are brutal with OSB. Absolutely gloves at all times. Plus, what's interesting is in my 20s and 30s when I was working in a wood shop or having a lot of daily exposure in a wood shop, what changed in the 25 years, 30 years since kind of then, is I developed an allergy to OSB. So if I'm carrying OSB and it's making contact with my body, I actually developed a minor rash from OSB. So I've taken to never touching it without gloves or whatever for that reason, plus the splinter reason. OSB is brutal. So I definitely would share that information about using OSB. It would have been nicer to have used 1 inch thick material, but I didn't have anything really laying around that I wanted to use. But it was an exercise in critical thinking, and that was really the part of this. Thinking about how to build the layers, donuts as I called them, with the different cutouts as we built it from the base all the way up. Thinking about the load that would go, the parts that would go in it in reverse. Stacking them here, and then here, and then here, and measuring this distance first, thinking about it in reverse order. This distance, then this distance, and then this distance here, so that my donuts didn't have excessive cuts all the way down to the bottom of the base, is what it was. And I think a lot of CNC logic is critical thinking in reverse, is what it seems to me. How will it work in the sense that on a project I've done previously where I made a custom threshold, I needed to think about it in such a way that what order would I run the tool paths? I've got a bottom of a threshold and a top of the threshold, and machining had to be done to both faces of it. So thinking critically about when I remove material from one side of it, how does that affect my clamping when I flip it over? So thinking about where you want to end up at the beginning is the reverse order of what I'm trying to say in terms of thinking. There's always learning that happens when you do a project. I definitely reinforce that upcut bits are going to really suck that material up. Clamping, fixturing, hold down techniques are always something that's an ever-learning, continual process that I am engaged in. The engraving was fun. Next time, there's always ways to make it more interesting. I did, if you recall, I did pull a vector for the non-flammable gas label. I pulled that off. I don't spend a lot of time importing and modifying vectors. It's an area that I could stand to have more practice in. But I emulated that decal on the lid very quickly. Not a big deal. Doesn't have to be perfect. Doesn't have to be there at all. But I wanted to have it there anyway. And as I'm staring at the Onsrud page, I've reminded myself, the coating on these bits, which I don't know much about, I can tell you that it has more to do than just longevity alone, in my opinion, though I don't have much experience with longevity, or at least to be able to share, like, this is what I did, and this is what happened. But when I was cutting aluminum, there were two bits. One had a coating on it, and the other did not. I can tell you that the bit with the coating on it gave me a much, much cleaner finish. So at one point, I want to experiment with that. I want to investigate that and actually do optimizing. Spend time not working on a project for something that has to ship, but just spend time studying the optimization part of the cutting tool. So more to come, I guess, about the coatings on this material, and I'm very interested to explore more of that. I realize the camera's gone a little bit fuzzy. I don't know how long it's been fuzzy on me. Okay, so I think what we'll do is we will wrap this up and we'll go from there. Thank you very much for participating in this project. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.